This is J. Krishnamurti's second discussion with students at Rajghat, 1981.
What should we talk about?
So could we discuss sensitivity and what it means to be sensitive?
Could we discuss sensitivity and what it means to be sensitive?
What's the first part?
Could we discuss sensitivity
Sensitivity.
and what it means to be sensitive?
Are you happy here?
Yes.
All of you really happy?
Yes.
Good. Do your teachers beat you? No? No? Good. Do they scold you? Do they scold you?
Sometimes.
So they beat you. They don't physically beat you, right? But they scold you, which is verbally beating you. Isn't it? Yes? So do you like that? So how shall we stop it? Huh?
By not doing wrong things.
By not doing what you're not supposed to do. Is that it? First of all, I like, if I may, congratulate you about your play last night. It was beautifully done. That arena, you know what arena is? In the Roman times, ancient Roman times, they had lions released and they killed people there, or they fought. That where there is a space and all the people sitting around it, that space is called arena. So you've got a beautiful arena, beautiful setting, and I was enchanted by it, really. I was so delighted to see it. You understand what I'm saying? And the mise en scène, I mustn't speak French, the setting, the scenario, the dress, the grouping of the groups in one corner, groups in the other corner, was beautifully done. So may I congratulate you. Right. I hope you don't mind my congratulating you. See, if in a school of this kind, we oughtn't to be unkind to each other. We oughtn't to scold you. How shall we stop being scolded? How will the teachers stop scolding you? Because you don't do everything that should be done, right? Quite naturally, you're quite young, full of play. Naturally, you don't pay much attention to what the teacher is saying. But the poor teacher also has a difficulty, right? Because you are not paying attention. So he gets irritated and scolds you. So how should we both of us stop it? You and the teacher. Stop scolding. You behaving properly, and the teacher with patience, not scold you. It's dreadful being scolded all the time. I think that's one of the reasons why we become insensitive. If I keep on scolding you, telling you how naughty you are, you don't pay attention to me at all. You turn a deaf ear. You understand what I'm saying? So, can we stop scolding in this place? That all of us behave properly. Of course, we are very young, and therefore we are rather mischievous, naughty, playful, not too attentive. So the poor teacher has to say something harsh to you. And so you don't like it. It hurts you. And that is one reason why we get insensitive. Do you realize from when you are very young like this, we get very easily hurt, don't we? Huh? Agreed? Do you get hurt? Not physically, not bodily, but inside. Don't you get hurt? Now, if I scold you or rough to you, or I'm rough to you with you, and say something harsh, you get hurt. That is the beginning of being insensitive. You get that? Do you understand that? Moment you get hurt, you are building a wall, not to get hurt more. So that is the beginning of becoming gradually insensitive, right? And also to be if you have fear, you'll also become insensitive. Aren't you all afraid of something? Yes? What are you afraid of? Tell me. Huh?
Darkness.
You are afraid of darkness. Why? Talk to me. Let's talk about it. Why?
But because you don't know what you might come up against in the dark. Because you don't know what you might come up against in the dark.
Because you don't know what you might come up against in the dark.
In the dark, are you afraid of the dark outside your room or inside your room? So you're afraid of the dark outside. You don't know what you're coming up against. There are the bushes, the trees, somebody might be there, so you get nervous, right? Nervous, getting a shock, that's not fear. Would you call that fear? I go out in the dark. I don't know where the steps are. So I'm a little cautious, right? Go slowly, step by step, and find out. But that's not fear, is it? You are protecting yourself against for falling, right? That's not fear. Discuss with me, talk to me about it. Would you call that fear? If you're afraid of darkness in the room, are you? No? Oh, then you're perfectly all right. What are you afraid of? Your parents? Huh? Yes? What does that mean? Sometimes. Why? Tell me, please. Apparently you are afraid of your parents, I'm quite sure of it. Because they beat you, scold you, tell you, don't do this, do that, right? Be like this, don't do that, keep on at you, right? So the parents make you insensitive, right? Do you see that? Do you see that? By telling you all the time, don't do this, do that, your hair is not right, you don't put on your dress properly, don't go, right? So you gradually shrink, don't you? Huh? Is that right? So, there again, you become insensitive. So, we are finding out what makes you insensitive. First, you get hurt. Then at home you are scolded. Or even perhaps the mother or the father slaps you, which is dreadful. And at school you are also scolded. Right? So gradually you build a wall around yourself, don't you? You know, building a wall around yourself means not physically, but inwardly you shrink. And so you become insensitive. Right? That's one part. And what is sensitivity? What is it to be sensitive? I'll tell you. I'll tell you all these things. Will you do all of what I say? I'm not scolding. Will you do what I say? Discuss with me. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. If I'm right, tell me. But if you sit silently, I don't know whether you think I'm telling something nonsensical or something real, right? Do you hear that train? Huh? That is what? Tell me what. Go on, tell me. When you hear that train crossing that bridge and whistling, are you aware of it? Or you have got so used to it? Huh? So, if you get used to anything, you become insensitive. If you understand all this. You are used to what? Puja at home? Right? Some of you at least, some parents indulge in this nonsense called puja. Right? Repeat, 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 day after. They don't know what it means. Generally in Sanskrit or something or other, you repeat. So, anything that is repetitive makes you insensitive. Have you understood this? Right? So, find out if you do anything over and over again without thinking. You get what I'm saying? Do you do anything without thinking about it? Now wait a minute. How do you clean your teeth? Huh? With a brush. Right. You clean your teeth with a brush, putting toothpaste on it, and brushing, thinking about something else, right? Right? That is, look, listen. You repeat, you brush your teeth, looking out of the window, thinking about something else. You're not paying attention to what you're doing, right? What you're doing becomes a habit, right? Without thinking. I wonder if you understand what I'm saying, right? So, anything that you repeat without thinking makes you insensitive. Got it? You comb your hair, thinking about something else, right? And you're not aware, watchful of what you're doing. Right? So will you pay attention to what you're doing? That is, comb your hair. When you comb your hair, watch it. That you're combing your hair. Watch how you comb your hair. I do this every morning. I'm very, very watchful of what I'm doing, so that I don't fall into a habit. You understand? The moment I fall into a habit, routine, doing the thing over and over again, I become careless, indifferent, insensitive. You got it? Now, do you see the flowers outside? Do you? No, don't say yes. Have you seen them? Actually looked at them? Or you look at them as you pass by? What do you do? Do you actually look at them? Do you watch their color? The shape of the flower? The smell of the flower? Right. Or, this is rather difficult. Will you follow me a little bit? Or, you have smelt the flower so often that you smell it remembering that you have smelt it before. I wonder if you understand this. If I'm your teacher, thank God I'm not. If I'm your teacher, I see you every day, right? Every day, for a couple of hours, I see you. I recognize you. I know how you're going to behave more or less because I've watched you. Whether you study properly, whether you're looking out of the window, whether you're pulling somebody's hair, you follow. I watch you. And as a teacher, I almost know you. You understand? I know what you're going to say. I know what your reactions are. So I don't pay much attention. I know you. You understand? I have become insensitive to you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, as a teacher, can I look at you afresh? This is very difficult. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Can you look at me if I'm your teacher? Just put it on the other way. I come to your class. I don't know how I'm dressed. Whether I'm clean, neat, fresh clothes, tidy, or I come with sloppy. How do you look at me? If I'm your teacher, how do you regard me?
Through the past experience.
Yeah, you look at me with your past experience, right? Can you look at me as your teacher as though for the first time you're seeing me? I look at you as though I've seen you dozens of times, and you look at me as though you've seen me dozens of times, right? So what happens? What is your relationship to me and my relationship to you? Huh?
We
Take each other for granted.
take each other for granted.
That's it. You take each other for granted. What does that mean?
We more or less know what the reactions of the other person may be.
No, you take me for granted and I take you for granted. What does that phrase mean, granted? She used that phrase. We take each other for granted. What does that mean?
We become mechanical to each other.
Huh?
We become mechanical to each other.
I know. Is that what happens? Investigate, sir. Think about it. Is that what happens? When I take you for granted, and you take me for granted, what does that mean? Huh?
We are insensitive to each other.
No, don't use the word insensitive. Sorry. I take for granted my mother is going to cook, right? I take it for granted my parents are going to send me money. I take for granted the servant is going to make the bed, right? So, what happens when I take people for granted?
A certain carelessness arises.
Huh?
A certain carelessness arises.
That's it. Certain carelessness, indifference, right? So, when you take people for granted, you become insensitive, don't you? I wonder if you understand all this. Huh? So, let's find out. What is your relationship with regard to the teacher? And what is the teacher's relationship to you? You know what relationship means, don't you? Huh? Do you? You are related to your parents. Most unfortunate. You are related to your brother, to your mother. What is your relationship to the teacher, and what is his relationship to you? Tell me. They're all the teachers there. What's your relationship to them?
The concern between both.
Uh,
The concern between both.
you contaminate each other?
There's concern.
Then
There's concern between both.
I prefer contamination. You tell me, please, concern for each other? Is that what you're saying? Is that an actuality? Are you concerned about the teacher? Of course not. And is the teacher concerned about you? Huh? Don't tell them, I want them to tell me. Is the teacher concerned about you? Don't be shy. Huh?
We don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? What is the teacher concerned about? That you study, right? I am your mathematics teacher. I am concerned that you learn from the book and from what I know about mathematics, right? Is he concerned about anything else? Huh? Tell me, sirs. Huh?
He's not concerned with anything else.
No, he's not concerned about it.
So, as he's not concerned about you, except that you pass some beastly mathematics, right? He doesn't say, how are you? Did you sleep well? What? Have you any troubles? Have you any problems? Is your health all right? Inquire. You understand what I'm saying? That would be concern, wouldn't it? Right? Do you agree? And your concern then also is to say, I hope you have no problems. I hope you didn't quarrel with your wife. Or you didn't beat her up. You follow? All that is conversation between two people. You understand? Now, another thing. You've eaten in that hall, haven't you, every day, right? You have your meals in that big hall, right? Yes or no? Yes. Good. Have you seen what the kitchen is like, where they cook?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Yes. What do you think of it? Don't look at her.
So it is better than other schools, but it needs more improvement.
What's that?
It's better than other schools, but it needs improvement.
When you ask, as I've asked some of the ministers, government, this country is very corrupt. They say yes, but so is the other countries. So he's avoiding the question, you understand? When I ask him, is very corrupt this country? He says, not so corrupt as Czechoslovakia or Indonesia. That question is the same, isn't it? This is not as good as it should be, but it's better than the other. You understand? Now, have you go this afternoon before lunch, look at the kitchen. Go inside and look at it. I've been there. It's dirty, right? Right?
Yes.
Filthy. The cooks are dirty. The floor is dirty. The walls are dirty. All the posts which they go through, they touch it, they're all they've left their marks, right, dirty. So what will you do? Now just a minute, you see dirt and you don't do anything, right? Doesn't that make you insensitive? Right? So what will you do? Absolute silence. That means you see dirt, accept it, and become insensitive to dirt and carry on. Right? So, what I'm going to do is paint all that place white. Right? Floor, make it clean, cement it, level it, put it, so that it's always clean. Right? Now, will you help? Yes. Huh? Yes. No. Paint the doors white, the walls white, so that kitchen is one of the most important places where you have good, clean food. Huh? What about the cooks? What will you do with them? Huh?
We'll dress them in white.
Absolutely. Dress them in white. Or take them to the Ganga and dip them.
Ganga is more polluted than them.
So, if you demand cleanliness, you will have it, but you don't care. You understand? If you, who are the majority, 10-1 probably, if you say, look, sirs, we must have that kitchen absolutely clean, go on strike. And you will see tomorrow that kitchen will be clean. Agree? Will you do it? You asked how to be sensitive. Here you Don't accept anything that's dirty, for God's sake. And also, to be sensitive, will you look after a tree, plant it, dig manure, plant a tree and look after it? Will you?
Sir, if it bears fruit, then we look after it.
If it bears fruit, then we look after it.
Suppose if it doesn't bear fruit, will you also look after it? I have planted dozens and dozens of trees in California. Dug 3 feet deep, 3 feet wide, collected good soil, leaf mold, and planted it. They're still surviving. They're orange trees. I have milk cows. Will you do all that? If the cows allowed it. So, to become sensitive, you have to watch very carefully that you don't fall into a habit. You have fallen into a habit with regard to that kitchen. You see it every day and it's dirty. Right? You become insensitive to it. You see those poor people walking every day, carrying heavy loads. You've got used to it. So you become insensitive. So don't get used to anything. You understand? Suppose I'm a bad teacher, I don't know how to teach. You put up with it. You don't go on strike. So you say, well, sir, a professor from Oxford in England, a friend of mine, came to this country and went several schools and colleges. He said to me, at the end of it, he said, my God, they don't know how to teach. You understand? And you accept it. Now, I'll show you something. Is it time for me to stop?
No, sir, it's only 10:30. There's still time.
You're not bored? 3 cheers. You know what is mathematics? Huh? Tell me what it is. You all study mathematics, don't you? Unfortunately or fortunately. Of course. Do you know what mathematics is?
Magic of numbers.
Magic of numbers, all right. 2 plus 2 doesn't make 5, it makes 4. Right? What does that mean? Or 3 multiplied by 8 equals 24. What does that mean, all that? 2 by 2, 10 by 3, 12 by 4. What does that mean to you? Not just 48, 36, 4, and so on. What does it mean to you? Huh? You're all learning mathematics, aren't you? Think about it. Think. Don't find out. Don't let me tell you. Find out. You've got brains, use them. And see, you're not used to it. Doesn't it mean order? 2 plus 2 is 4. 12 plus 3 equals plus multiplied by 3, 36, and so on. Doesn't it show you it is extraordinarily orderly, right? Extraordinarily rhythmic, like a dance, a flow, right? You agree? Huh? So, mathematics means order, right? Now, there is not only order in the universe, that is the sun rising, sun setting, at exactly the same time, according to seasons, you follow? There is tremendous order in the universe. You have seen the Orion, the stars. Doesn't anybody tell you about all this? Huh? No? Good Lord. It rises, I won't go into it. So, mathematics, the real deep study of mathematics is discovering order in the universe, in numbers, and also discovering if you have order in yourself. You understand? Or you are confused, you are contradictory, disorderly. Right? You see the relationship between mathematics and yourself, do you? Huh? See how difficult it is for them to think. You learn from books, don't you? Huh? Why don't you learn looking at the birds, looking at the stars, learn, watch, see. Nobody encourages you, nobody tells you about it. What shall we do? So you're all responsible for this school. What will you do? Because your mind's merely looking at books, learning from books, makes you second-hand. You understand second-hand? Like going to a shop and buying second-hand things. You've all become second-hand. There's no first-hand. You don't say, well, sir, I looked at Orion, those stars, the Pleiades. I know it looks so beautiful. You don't, you follow? So what shall we do? See how insensitive we become to all this. I'm not scolding you, sir. Don't go to sleep. We are, as an occasional visitor here, and I say, for God's sake, what kind of school is this when you're merely learning from books? I'll tell you. I went to school in England. I never passed one exam. You understand? Not one examination. So I was sent to various universities. I couldn't pass. Then they sent me to France, a place called Sorbonne, where your minister, prime minister, just be. And I know French. I knew French. And there too I couldn't pass. So Dr. Besant was looking, you have heard of Dr. Besant? Who was looking after me, she had adopted me. She said, that's enough. You've been to all these schools, you never passed, so enough. But you see, I watched the trees, the ants, the flies, the birds. I watched and listened to very, very famous people. Like, you ever heard of Bernard Shaw? Yeah, we used to meet quite often. I listened to it. I listened to various scientists, painters, poets. And you learn, you absorb so much. But if you merely stick to books, you follow?
So when you look at that tree, don't you look at it with the tree with the word tree in your mind?
When you look at the tree, does it mean that you don't look at it with the word tree in your mind?
Yes. I'm going to show you something. You know, I saw a report in one of the highly respected newspapers in England that, listen to this, that when you sing to the tree, it begins to move. You understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? That when you are friendly with the tree, when you sing to the tree, a particular tree, it begins to sway, the whole tree. Find out which tree in Rajghat, in this campus, moves when you sing to it. Find out when you say something harsh, it becomes very still. And when you talk to it very gently, the leaves flutter, dance with you. Do you understand all this? Will you do it? You may sound cuckoo, singing to a tree, but a tree is one of the most beautiful things on earth. I don't know if you have sat under it. Probably it's here. During this season, it's too cold to have your lessons outside. And also they have found scientifically that when you are milking a cow, if there is music in the shed, it gives more. I've told this to Upasanaji, he's going to do it. Playing music to the cows. You see, learn from outside, not just from books. Isn't that enough? Do you know what meditation is? Probably you don't. All you know about meditation is to repeat. Right? Right? No. What is meditation then? Tell me. See, meditation means to have a very quiet, still mind, not a chattering mind. To have a really quiet body, quiet mind, so that your mind becomes very religious. All this nonsense that is going on in the name of religion is rubbish. But to have a very, very quiet body, to have a very quiet mind, and to keep your eyes quiet, still, so that your whole being is totally harmonious. And in that state, other things, greater things take place. That's real meditation. Not to say, I must be quiet, keep my body very quiet, forcing, but naturally quiet. So shall we do it for a few minutes? Huh? Right. Right, sir. I hope you all have a nice holiday.